Oh, hi, good afternoon, everyone. It's such a pleasure for me to connect with you all today at the very first virtual learning and development conference in the Maldives. It's also a privilege and an honor for me to be sharing this virtual platform with all these great many speakers lined up for today, and especially with world legendary keynote speaker and world #1 customer service guru, Ron Kaufman. He's just amazing, won't he? Well, my name is Ahmed, and I'm one of the co-founder members and current vice president of MAHRP. I'm also working at MACL as Deputy Chief Human Resource Officer. Uh, my topic, and I'll be giving an insight to you today on Agile Adoption and Agile Transformation. One of the key competencies that which our learning and development leaders, our business leaders, and also our CEOs and MDs and need to develop and foster in order for us to take our organizations, our companies to the next level. So let me start with a short story. Two men were walking through a forest and they see a tiger at a distance, like you see from my slide there. And the tiger was running towards them, and both of them started running away. And all of a sudden, one of the men stopped, took his bag, and then took running shoes from the bag and started wearing it. And the other man stopped and he said, "What are you doing? Why are you wearing a shoes?" And the person who was running the shoes said that, "I don't have to outrun the tiger. I just have to outrun you." So does it ring a bell? So who do you want to be? Do you want to be the person who was wearing the shoes, or you want to be the person, perhaps, person who might be eaten by the tiger? I would like all of the participants to write your comments and hold that thought. You can write your comments in the chat box, and you can hold that thought, and at the end of the session, end of my talk, I'll be asking the same question again. So who do you want to be? Do you want to be the person who was wearing the shoes to outrun the person, or the person who will be eaten by the tiger? Some answers from the participants. All right, most of the participants, they're saying they want to outrun the person, to wear the shoes and outrun the tiger and also the person. All right. As we speak, your organizations, your companies will be disrupted by other companies or being disrupted yourself. So if we learn anything during the past few months, especially during the time of COVID, the only constant in life is change. The markets are fluctuating, the customer expectations are just adjusting, and especially the technological advancement, disruption, transformation, it doesn't take weeks, it just takes days, even it doesn't take months now. So the only constant in life is change. So rightly said by Klaus Schwab, the founder and chief executive of World Economic Forum, it's in this dynamic world, it's not the big fish which eats small fishes. It's the fastest fish which eats the slowest fish. So we all know that if we are slow now, it will be taken over by the fast and agile companies. Let me take you back in history of how agile or change management came into being. A bit of history, there's Industry 5.0. It started in 1800s with the introduction of mechanization, steam power, and weaving looms. And in 1913, around that time, Henry Ford, he started off with assembly lines, mass production, and also with the introduction of electrical energy. Then came the automation and or the computers and the electronics. So you could easily depict that from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, how the Industry 3.0 was taken over from Industry 2.0. So the people were replaced by machines, which brought a lot of efficiency and also reduced waste. So we're able to produce more and deliver more to the customers. Then came Industry 4.0 or Change 4.0 in the year 2000 or around 2011. So with a smart factory or smart manufacturing or cloud computing, so things have revolutionized in the industries, across the companies, and now we are seeing the agile way of doing things in the companies. So this Industry 4.0 is also, we could name as Change 4.0 or maybe Agile 4.0. Agile has been a very important term which has been have been defined at different with different definitions, and especially by people who are trying to sell things to people. You know, if you ask the maker of a paper product, they would say that agile is if you write your user stories in a sticky note, which I happen to sell. And if you ask a consultant, you know what they will say? They will say that it's just a methodology of software development, which I could teach you if you take my services. And it's funny though, if you ask a maker of orthopedic shoes, and they would say that to be agile in your organizations, you need to have stand-up meetings where the people will feel comfortable, which I happen to sell. So this gets, the agile term gets subjected to a lot of abuse, and the real definition of agile is we will find in Agile Manifesto. And it clearly says that agile is not a methodology. Agile is also not a specific way of doing things, or it's not a process, or it's not a framework. So what is agile? So agile, the definition you could find in the Agile Manifesto, which came into being in the year 2001 by a group of fanatic software developers of 17 software developers were gathered in the state of Utah in a ski resort in the year 2001. And the Agile Manifesto clearly says that agile is not a methodology or specific way of doing things. So what they say is that we will do software development better by following 4 values and 12 principles. So by considering the items on the left more than the items on the right. And there are 4 values which I will just explain to you, those 4 values. The first one is individuals and interactions valuing over than processes and tools. So rather than focusing more on the process and tool, it doesn't mean that we should not focus on process and tool, but in the Agile Manifesto, it says that we need to value more the individuals and interaction over processes and tools. And the second value is working software. So it needs to be working and then delivering to the customers rather than just concentrating on comprehensive documentation. So that's very common in our organizations. Even though this is software development, Agile came into being from the software development, but this has transformed into other areas of businesses. And the third value is customer collaboration over contract negotiation. So this is also very familiar. I mean, we are very, we could find this very commonly in our organizations, that we are very bothered and we are very focused on the contract negotiation rather than the customer collaboration. So this third value is very important for agile implementation. And the fourth value is responding to change over following a plan. So we have plans, but rather than just following the plan, we need to respond in a quick and swift manner in order to deliver the products, not only the software, but any products or services to our customers, our stakeholders. So in generally, this Agile Manifesto gives us the definition of Agile, and it says that they will value more the items on the left than the items on the right. So in addition to these 4 values, they also have given 12 principles which are very in general, and it tells us more to not about doing, not telling you rather than what to do. It gives us a definition or a platform for us to make decisions in order to do our work better. So Agile is a set of values and principles, but sometimes we tend to think that it's doing faster. It's just one part of Agile, but Agile by itself is a set of values and principles. But much of the discussion around Agile has to do with following practices or using various methodologies or even developing specific tools. So the discussion goes around Agile whenever two people or a group of people gathers. Well, these things are important, but those practices in itself are not Agile. So, for example, a team might find having a daily stand-up meeting is helpful, but stand-up meeting adopting to your organization might not be an Agile practice itself, but it needs to result from following values and principles. So whatever the practices we bring to our organizations, our companies, needs to be a result of following this Agile set of values and principles. So overall, Agile, it's a collection of beliefs, values, and principles. So it gives a real utility, is giving people a common foundation or a common platform for making decisions about the best way to do their job. For example, if we consider a new project that is in discussion on how to get requirements from the business owners, the suggestive approach would be to gather all the requirements, sign up, and then we will do the work. But a team following an Agile mindset or Agile culture would say that, isn't that inconsistent with the Agile values of customer collaboration over contract negotiation? So they will be asking this question: if your company, your teams, or your businesses are following the Agile practices or the Agile values and principles. So whatever practice which we adopt in our organizations needs to come as a result of following the Agile values and principles. I hope you understood the difference between Agile adoption and Agile transformation. So let me give you a very interesting concept and an interesting story I would like to share with you. This is called cargo cult mentality or cargo cult Agile practices. So this is a real story, and I'm sure it will reflect with so many organizations, so many participants, your companies. So what happened was, after the World War II, the Melanesian Islanders, the islands in South Pacific, those islanders were observed trying to bring cargo planes and their supplies from the sky. So they were trying to bring cargo planes and supplies from the skies by mimicking the practices that they have seen performed during the World War II. So after the World War II, they were trying to bring these cargo planes and those supplies or the gifts by mimicking the practices which they saw perform during the World War, during the time of war. So it went to the extent that they were clearing the forests to make landing strips, and also they were making full-size planes out of straw, which the pictures which you see, and the last one is the real picture, and if you Google it, it's there. So, and they were making makeshift towers like the airport tower, and then people were manned with headphones made of coconut husks. So thinking that they were following the practices which they saw during the World War II. So they thought that they can bring those cargo planes, the real cargo planes, with supplies so they can get their supplies. Doesn't that ring a bell? Doesn't that your companies, your organization, your institutes, isn't that what, especially in the Maldives, what we are doing? I mean, I have worked in 5 industries now. I mean, this is my 5th industry. Like Eddie said, in tourism, in banking, in telecom. Currently now I'm in the aviation. And this is very common. I mean, I have been a change agent, I have been an agile agent, but this phenomena of this cargo cult mentality is extremely common, whether you agree or not, because I have seen it. I'm sure that this will reflect with your companies. And just to share a short story, one of my colleagues, 2 days back, he is in the at the leadership level, and he came and told me that I have started a stand-up meeting in my area of work, at the leadership one group of people. So I was preparing for this presentation. I said, is it? So do you think that the stand-up meeting will work in our organization? I said, yeah, because it works in there and it works in here, it works in Google. So why not it will work in our organization? I said, my friend, it might not work because we as a company, we don't follow this something called agile values and principles. He also understands, oh yeah, so if we don't follow these values, wouldn't that practice apply in our organizations? I said, yeah. So this is the common mistake that which we all do in our organizations. So that brings to this bringing agile adoption and agile transformation. So the agile community suffers a significant confusion between this agile adoption and agile transformation. Sadly, the change agents, they talk about adopting agile and not about transforming the culture of the company or which supports this agile mindset. And the result and the sad consequences is this of myopia is that they accidentally do a transformation without getting the buy-in from the company, or which leads to a failure. Because if you do really a transformation, there are steps which you need to follow, but accidentally they do a transformation in the name of adoption, and then it leads to failure. This has happened to me as so many times. But we as a nation, as a community, as professionals, we need to understand this dilemma, the differences and the principles of this, and then we need to apply in our organizations in order to succeed these change management practices. So we need to ask ourselves, are we adopting agile or are we transforming agile? So like Ron Kaufman today said, a caterpillar with certain enzyme, it gets transformed into a butterfly. So who do you want to be? Do you want to be the caterpillar who gets enlarges in size and always stay or remain forever as a caterpillar, or do you want to be transformed into a butterfly or a new being? That's a question you as change agents and learning and development agents needs to ask and convince your leadership on a way forward for these change management practices. But it is extremely common in our organizations in the Maldives. So overall, in order for agile transformation, we need these three components: the digital transformation, people transformation, and culture transformation to be in place in order for our organizations, our companies to go agile transformation. But if we do in silos, we might get digital transformation, but as a business, we will not be able to get agile transformation. So I thought that I will take this opportunity, this learning and development conference platform, just to broaden our horizon, especially in our community, so that we will not be making the same mistakes which we have done before. Talking about the agile, how agile is extending across the world, across the globe, across the companies. It all started off with IT software development, but more than the IT now, the business leaders, the business side of the equation has taken over this agile transformation and agile adoption. As you can see from the KPMG survey, around agile at enterprise level, it's like 2.5 times within next 3 years, this agile transformation will be increased. And at the function level, it's almost around 13 times. And also at the agile at scale level, it's increasing. It will be around 8 times after 3 years, these things will increase. So we know that, we also feel that agile is important in our organizations, but it's just that we don't know how to go about it, and it leads to failure. So what are the just to give you some main drivers of Agile, is faster product delivery adjusted to changing customer needs. Of course, when we bring Agile mindset, Agile culture into our organization, our delivery times reduces and it becomes faster. And also increase flexibility. The other one is solve silos between business and IT. Because in order for us to be agile, we need all the functions to be working together. So this also reduces the silo, especially with IT and the business. And we have a fast and continuous improvement of customer satisfaction and needed for digital agenda. So these are some of the main drivers of agility, we could say. But those were the main drivers, and of course there are challenges for agile adoption and agile transformation, or changing the culture to agile mindset. So one of the main challenge that this survey has shown is around 50% have said that it's the ability to change the organizational culture. So because of the culture, they're not able to transform or move into the agile space. And that's very common. I believe that even in our community or around across the globe, this factor of organization culture is a big challenge or a roadblock for this kind of transformation. And it's very surprising. The budget constraint is at the last, but we always think that it's because of the budget. It's just that because we don't get the finance, we are not able to transform, or we're not able to bring those changes which we are able to bring. But I mean, to summarize it, I could say that there is some issue with the leadership as well. I mean, the question is, are they not willing to give up the power? I mean, culture obviously falls into leadership. So the question is, are they not willing to give the power so that we will be transformed into a new being, the whole organization or the company? So obviously the culture, we always wanted that agile to be in place, but because of the culture, we are not able to bring this change. And in order for us to change the culture in an organization, we need to have as the core culture as the collaborative culture. And as the second culture is cultivation. So it's not just a term, collaboration, but we really need to have that culture across the organization. I mean, we need to do whatever it takes to inculcate that culture, that mindset in all the employees in the organization, not only in leadership, at the middle management level, at the junior most person, even or people who are doing the basic functions of organization. Like it reflects, I mean, there's a very famous story from John F. Kennedy when he visited the NASA office, and he met a person who was sweeping the floor, and he said, "What are you doing?" And he said that I'm trying to put a person in the moon. So that's the amount of the values and principles and missions that inculcated, that they live those values. So it's not just the it's not just the leadership. All the employees in the organizations need to talk the same language. So this is a question for you. So what's the culture in your company now? Is it agile? Is it aligned with the agile? How well your culture is aligned with agile? Can I see some answers from the chat log? How well is the culture aligned with agile? Now, which I have explained to you what is agile and how to go about being agile. And the third question is, what problems can you expect due to this misalignment? I'm sure I can see that is not aligned with agile. I can see different comments from different participants. But the important question, what problems can you expect due to misalignment? And doesn't that ring a bell? Isn't that the problems which we are seeing in our organizations now? That because our culture is not aligned with this mindset of agile values and principles. Let me give you a quick, before I finish, let me give you a quick case study of a very successful business transformation, digital transformation, and business agility. I mean, this is a bank, a medium-sized bank, Asian bank, DBS. It was formed in 1968 by the Singaporean government in order to modernize the island nation. So they hired, around 2009, they hired a chief technology officer called Paul Coburn. And when he came and he started working, I mean, there's a real story that around 2009, he was in a taxi and he happened to tell the taxi driver that I work in DBS Bank, and the taxi driver said that he said that you are working in damn bloody slow bank. So that's the common language for DBS Bank during 2009 when Paul Coburn joined DBS as the chief transformation officer. So they did. He implemented all the processes, and after 4 years, I mean, during that time, it was their customer satisfaction was at the lowest. After transformation agenda, and then they became the world's best digital bank during that time. And also they opened other digital banks across the globe in India and other countries. So what did they do right? During that time, the CEO of DBS Bank was Gupta, and he told that he did a big culture transformation in order to bring this innovative culture in DBS. So the best takeaway which I remember from the DBS this case study is he put all the leaders in startup hackathon, and they invested all training budget for this hackathon, startup hackathon, all the leaders. So it gives an innovative and creative mindset it created within the leadership and also middle management. So that led to eliminate waste, like 250 million customer hours per year they removed, and digital transformation, their slogan was making the bank invisible. So with the digital transformation, they just want to go back and give customer space. And they did the strategic transformation by driving innovation and changing the culture of the organization. So the question is, who do you want to be? We know that change is the only constant in life. And if you have learned anything from this COVID, it's just that that's the only thing happening around. So change is the constant. And if you want your organization to be agile, just don't talk about agile practices. It's okay to talk about agile practices if it reflects or if it results in following the agile values and principles. So always, this is my advice to you all, that if you want to make your company agile culture, agile mindset, bring those practices or transform your organization so it will be in line with the agile values and practices which are laid down in Agile Manifesto. So just to sum up, doing agile and being agile, I hope we are in good terms with that. Want to bring agile adoption and transformation, you know what needs to be doing. And the question is, do you want to stay as a caterpillar or you want to be transformed, like Ron Kaufman said, as a butterfly, to be the success which you want to see in the world? Rightly said by Charles Darwin, it's not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but rather the one most adaptable to change. Thank you very much. So it brings an end to my talk today. You can connect me over LinkedIn and also through MAHRP website. Thank you.
Ahmed, thank you very much. I think you have shared a great knowledge and insight into the difference between bringing an idea into an organization and spreading the idea and making it as a transformative moment. I think that was quite an important thing. So I've got a couple of questions here for you, Ahmed. And just to get through those questions here. We received quite a lot of questions, but I'm going to take a couple of them. So one of the first question is that, so let me just choose one from here. Why change becomes a fear? Is it more in junior level or top level in many organizations? What's the big deal about it?
Yes, this is a very good question. I mean, the challenge is fear, because that's a innate humanistic characteristic that we from the time of Adam, that we are reluctant to change. So the important thing is that we need to understand, we need to be aware that fear is there. As learning and development professionals, as agile practitioners or change agents, we need to understand that the fear is there. So with that, we need to start our transformational agenda. So the important thing is to be aware that fear is there.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think if we were to do something, because we have the fear that it's not going to work, definitely the chances of making it successful will be quite less. So let's take another question here from a participant. We got another question here. How to deal with employees who are unwilling to be agile or reluctant to adapt to change?
That's a very good question. I think also answer to that. What's in it for me? So you, as change agents, we need to tell them what's in it for them with this change, because human beings, they always want something for them. So we just have to explain to them what's good in it for them with this change. Thank you, Afif.